Welcome to Speaking of Spirituality, a podcast to share about the path of spiritual awakening. I'm your host, Amelia McLean, and I am so excited to be showcasing some inspiring stories and exploring some interesting topics, all under the umbrella of spirituality. So without further ado, let's dive right in. This week, I'm really excited to be sharing about the one-on-one sessions that I offer. They are called Quantum Soul Alchemy, and I'll be explaining all about them. And I want to start by sharing from the beginning how I came to be doing this work. And the story actually starts when I was 18 years old and in my first year at community college in San Diego. I took a yoga class, Intro to Yoga, and I had a really powerful experience during one of the classes because at the end of the class, the teacher played us a guided meditation called Yoga Nidra. It means sleep yoga. And basically, Yoga Nidra is a very, very deeply relaxing guided meditation. And it allows for the stress response system in the brain to be turned off, allowing for deep rest and rejuvenation, for the body to enter its natural state of healing. And most people are living in a low-level stress state all the time. So Yoga Nidra is really great for everybody, and it's really, really nice to do right before bed. This is my plug for Yoga Nidra here. I do have a Yoga Nidra video on my YouTube channel. I'll be making some more new ones. So basically, Yoga Nidra, the first half of Yoga Nidra is what's called a rotation of consciousness, which is basically a very detailed body scan. And whoever's listening to the guided relaxation is directed to relax each part of the body very, very in depth down to like each single finger and just every little part of the body. And so what this does is it allows for the physical body to be extremely relaxed. And the second half of Yoga Nidra is a guided visualization. So there, different Yoga Nidras can have different intentions. And anyway, so during this Yoga Nidra in the yoga class I was in, after the rotation of consciousness part, when my physical body was so relaxed, it was like I could feel like my consciousness was separate from my body. And it was like my consciousness was like, felt really big, like it was like filling up the room. And that's the best way I can explain it. And I could like feel my physical body like so heavy on the floor. But looking back, it was like the first time that I really, started to realize like that our physical bodies are actually separate from our consciousness. Our consciousness is not actually part of the physical body. It's like that's where we are inhabiting during this lifetime, but we're actually so much more expansive than just the physical body. So it was really, really pivotal point for me on my spiritual path. And then I didn't really get super into yoga until I moved up to Humboldt, and I went to college and I was working, and then I just it was like, my body and my soul was craving something more. And well, I wanted to get in shape too. So I got a gym membership and I started going to a weekly yoga class, and I went twice a week, sometimes three times, I think. Anyway, and then when I changed my life and went through my spiritual awakening, which I talked about in one of the last episodes, 2 episodes ago, I during my, during my yoga teacher training that I did, which was amazing, by the way. Soma Yoga Institute is where I did my training through. And it was like a retreat style yoga training in Hawaii at a beautiful resort hotel. It was so nice. And so during that, I was very drawn to doing restorative yoga for people. I always liked to practice power flow when I was going to yoga at the gym. That was what I, chose to do to get in shape, and I loved that. But when I wanted to start teaching yoga, I was really interested in teaching restorative yoga and really helping people relax. And I remember in my teacher training for my final, I wanted to lead a yoga nidra, and the instructor, she was kind of reluctant to let me do that because she said, I offer actually a yoga nidra training, and I don't usually let people do yoga nidra during this this 200-hour training. And she said, but I can tell that you're really into it, and we'll let you give it a shot. So I wrote my own script. I looked online and kind of got an idea of what a yoga nidra script needs. And so I wrote my own script. And while I was in one of the last classes for the training before the final, I got this like download while I was in the class, and I was just like writing down the visualization part, and it was about looking into the heart center and seeing the bright white light that shines out from the heart. And anyway, it goes on from there, but it was just so beautiful, and it felt like it didn't come from me. It was like, I believe, from source. And that is our connection to source energy, I believe, this bright white light that emanates from the center of our hearts. And so I wrote the script, and I did the yoga nidra for my final in my teacher training. And at the end of the yoga class, the instructor says, well, good job, Amelia. I don't remember what happened because I was sleeping, which is a good thing if you're doing yoga nidra, because that means that, I did a really good job in my delivery, and people were able to get into that really nice and deeply relaxed state. So she said, I think you might have found your gift. And that really struck me. And so I started teaching a restorative yoga class when I came back from my training, and I started helping people really deeply relax. And then when the pandemic came, I started leading moon circles, and all of the women that I had attracted to the moon circles, I realized we're all different types of healers, lots of mothers also. I believe we attract people into our field that are, similar to where we're at. They're a reflection of us. And so, yeah, a lot of the women had different healing modalities that they worked with: yoga, hypnotherapy, Reiki, energy healing, massage. And so we thought, wouldn't it be cool if we had a place to come together and practice our healing things and share with each other and do the moon circles and yoga classes and all that. So 3 of us got together and we opened the Crystalline Collective studio. And so that's how the yoga studio was born. When we were doing our offerings there, the 3 of us who opened the center, the 3 founders, me, myself, and Monique and Chazelle, we started doing an offering where we combined all 3 of our special gifts together, and we call it a soul activation experience. And Monique starts off with some Himalayan Kundalini Kriyas, and then Chazelle does a beautiful sound bath, and then I conclude with a yoga nidra guided meditation. It's a very, very powerful, transformative experience. It's about 2 hours, and so we were doing these events And I had 3 people say to me within a couple of months, 3 friends of mine, say a very similar reflection, which was, I feel like you're hypnotizing me or something. Like when you do this yoga nidra, it feels like I'm being hypnotized. And I thought, oh, interesting. And that really like lit me up inside, and something, it like sparked this fire in my soul that was like, yes, like I need to explore this. I need to figure out, I need to study hypnosis and see what that's all about. And so I went home and I started, researching online, and I found a hypnosis training, and I learned some basic techniques for, hypnosis inductions, which is like the beginning of the process where you bring the client under, which basically just means that you're helping them get into a really relaxed state. And so when you're hypnotized, you're in a trance, and trance is a very common state that people actually enter multiple times during the day, doing different activities like reading, writing, cooking, cleaning, watching TV, scrolling on social media, even driving. These kind of things that are sort of this hypnotic, just, almost mindless kind of activity. But what's happening is you're entering a different level of consciousness. And so it's like almost like your consciousness is expanded, and you're kind of like aware of this other part of reality or of your mind that you don't normally have access to when you're in your conscious waking mind. We're always thinking, and we're doing, and we're thinking about what's next or what just happened, or where we're going or whatever. And so that distracts us from this expanded state that we can be in, that allows for more different types of information to come through. And so when I learned these hypnosis inductions, I started practicing on my husband. He was my guinea pig at the beginning. And once I figured out that I could bring someone into this other level of consciousness, I was very interested in doing like past life exploration, past life regression. I was reading about Dolores Cannon and her work, which is amazing, so inspiring. And that was fascinating to me. And so I decided I wanted to try to explore that with someone. So I found a person who wanted to, try to do a session with me. And so at one of the moon circles that I was leading, at the end of the circle, I said, hey, everybody, I'm starting to explore hypnotherapy, and I'm just beginning. I'm just learning about what I'm doing. But if anyone here is interested, I'm offering free sessions. And this one girl was like, oh, me, I'm so interested. And so we, her name's Rhonda Vatrick, and she actually has done a testimonial video for me. I did a little like interview style testimonial with her. So that I will be also posting on my YouTube channel. It's on the Crystalline Collective YouTube channel right now, actually. So anyhow, she was my first client, technically my first session with a person that I didn't really know. I just met her through my moon circle. And so I did the session with her, and it was very interesting because I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was being intuitively guided is what was happening. So I had been meditating regularly at that time, doing my candle gazing meditation practice, which helped me to tap into my, the wisdom through my third eye. And I was also developing a strong connection with my spirit team, all my angels and guides, who I began calling upon at the beginnings of these sessions that I started doing. And so I was basically like channeling and being guided what to do during these sessions. And I quickly started to realize that the things that people were telling me in the sessions were related to the different chakra centers in the body. I had minimal knowledge at that point, basic knowledge of the chakra centers, but I read a book about the chakras because I wanted to learn about the different things that the chakras are related to and, more in detail, more than I had already known. And so once I learned about that, I also realized in the sessions and through that knowledge of the chakras that what happens is people get energies stuck in the chakra centers throughout their life. And the energies get stuck there through different things, different traumatic experiences. And so when the energies are stuck in the centers and they're not released, it blocks the flow of energy in that center and through the whole system. And the energy blockages become more stuck and like more intense over time. And as the years go on, people can actually develop physical ailments in the body that are related to that are basically being caused by this stuck energy. And so in the sessions, what I'm doing is helping people to release these energy blockages in this stuck energy so that the energy can move freely again. And this allows for people to have healthy minds and healthy bodies and healthy spirits. And it has been so fascinating. Every single session that I get to do, I am so excited and so grateful. And at the end, I'm just like, wow, like it's just so fascinating to me every time because it's always different. And man, it's just so cool. So to kind of explain a little bit in more detail, let's see, people can have stuck energies that they physically feel. Like some people will feel things more, physical sensations in the body during the sessions. Some people will see things in the body. So for example, I've had somebody with throat chakra. Okay, throat chakra, a lot of people have throat chakra blockages, very, very common. And I've had a couple people who have like felt the throat during the session where they, the way that I can tell that they have a throat chakra blockage is because they feel this physical like tightness around the throat, or like there's something stuck in their throat. And so it's an energy that they're picking up on, right? There's not actually something physically constricting the throat and there's not something physically in the throat, but it's an energetic thing that because they're in this altered state of consciousness where they're not in their normal waking mind, that has fallen to the wayside, and they're accessing this different level of consciousness where they can pick up on basically what it is the quantum energy field. And so that's what's happening. So that's why it's so fascinating to me. And this is why we can do healing that affects something in the present moment that's actually altering something in the past. So for example, I've had people have past lifetimes come through, and in the quantum field, time, we don't experience time in the same way that we do in this physical 3D reality that we live in on planet Earth as humans. We have our linear timeline where we are in the present moment now. There's the past that's behind us, and there's the future that's in front of us, so to speak. But in the quantum realm, time is basically non-existent. It doesn't exist in a linear fashion like that. Time is now. All time is now time. So the past, present, and future are layered on top of each other and are all happening simultaneously rather than, one in front of the other. So in the quantum realm, when we're doing, that's why it's called Quantum Soul Alchemy, because we're taking the soul and we're tapping into the quantum field, and then we're alchemizing stuck energies that have been needing to be released. And so, like I was saying, with past lifetimes, or just things that have happened in the past, we can, in the quantum realm, we can access those times, and we can clear that energy, and it has an effect in the present moment, in the person's current situation. And so, like, for example, I had somebody that had endometriosis, and that was a very, very stuck energy in the sacral chakra center. And so this was causing this person pain. Endometriosis is a severe pain in the uterus. And this person had been dealing with this pain for decades and had actually decided to get a hysterectomy. She had her uterus removed and was still having these pains in the womb area, even though the womb was not there. And this is because it was an energetic blockage. It wasn't related to the physical womb space. It was an energetic blockage. So when we were doing the Quantum Soul Alchemy session and we were able to remove the blockage, the symptoms went away. She left the session and has never had issues again with the womb pain. So this is why this stuff just blows my mind. It's like so amazing and it's so incredible. And I wish I could just do a session for everybody that wants to try it, because it is so powerful. And let's see, what are some other really exciting, interesting things? I had one person who has had asthma for years, decades, and that was related to a blockage in the heart center. So the way that these work, the chakra centers are related usually to the areas of the body that are close to them. So the heart chakra center obviously is located in the center of the chest, and the lungs are very close to the center of the chest, right? So that's why the asthma was being caused by this energy blockage that was in the heart center. And so we were able to clear that up. I had another person who had chronic lower back pain and also problems with cloggage in the colon. And this was due to very intense cord attachments in that area, and a blockage in the solar plexus and the sacral area. So anyway, these are just some examples of amazing, basically instantaneous, spontaneous healings that have happened. So it's just so fascinating and so powerful. And let's see what else to share. Yeah, I'm open for sessions, and I am moving more towards doing virtual sessions, which it's better to do them in person if possible, but I'm going to be moving more towards virtual sessions, which I can do via Zoom. It's nice to be able to see the person when they're doing this work, when I'm working with them, but it's actually not necessary. I could do a session over the phone, but yeah, the main thing that's required for somebody to have a really good powerful session is for them to be alone and to be able to lay down, have their eyes closed, be undisturbed, and to be able, this is all required because it's the person needs to be able to deeply relax. That is the key. The relaxation is the key. And so my number one priority and goal is always to help the person feel as safe and comfortable as possible so that they can do the deeply relaxing work that needs to be done. And yeah, yoga nidra is a good thing to do to prepare for these sessions, because you're, training your mind and your brain and your body to be able to go there, to be able to get really deeply relaxed. And yeah, when I was first starting out doing these sessions, I was calling it hypnotherapy, because that's what I studied to learn how to do this, at the very beginning. But really, the only thing about it, or the only real reason that I was calling it that, is because I was using a hypnosis induction. But then I started to realize that it's actually not very similar to hypnotherapy. It's more similar to shamanic journeying. And so I changed the name. I was calling them just, hypnotherapy sessions, but I realized that that was misleading for somebody who's actually looking for traditional hypnotherapy, which is usually used to cure like behavioral types of patterns. But that's not really what I'm doing. So I needed to have a name that is more in alignment with what I'm actually offering, and that will then attract clients who are actually ready for the work that I'm really doing. Because somebody who's looking for traditional hypnotherapy might not really be ready for this quantum soul alchemy stuff. It's also helpful, I've noticed, for people who have already like a connection with the spiritual realms. They have a meditation practice, or if they are just aware of the chakra centers, even that's not necessary, but just having some sort of like connection to spirit. And it's not required, but it seems like it's helpful from what I've noticed. The most powerful sessions that I've done with people have been with people who are who channel themselves, like who can channel information. And so those have been, because those people are already so used to like tapping in to the quantum realm and receiving messages, because that's really what's happening in the sessions. That's what I'm guiding the person to do for themselves, is to open up to receive messages and information. And so people who are already used to doing that are obviously, already have skills in that area. So it's really helpful. Definitely not required though. And the sessions, I have done multiple sessions with a few people, and they do get more powerful over time. So the more times that we work with people, or, that I work with somebody, the more powerful the sessions get. But I mean, I've had sessions that are on the first time with a person that are so amazingly powerful, and it's just so cool. One of the most, I'll just want to share some feedback that I got from somebody that was like really, really confirming for me, and it was just so powerful. So I had a session with a guy that I had never met before. It was my first time like putting myself out there and like, opening up for a session with somebody that I didn't know. And I like connected with them online. And so we meet at the studio, we have the session. It's like really powerful, goes really well. And at the end of the at the end of the session, he looks at me and he says, "Did you train with this woman in Eureka?" And I said, "No, no, I didn't do a training." And he says, "Did you study? Did you how did you learn to do this?" And I told him, I've been intuitively guided to do what I'm doing. And I just basically taught myself these simple hypnosis inductions, and that's how I got started. And he said, "Well, you did exactly what this woman did who I saw. She's a shaman. She's a trained shaman. I don't know what lineage from," but I said, "Oh, wow, really?" And he said, "Yeah, like even down to the whole, going through each of the chakra centers and picking up on the stuck energies, and then using the white light to remove the energy." He said, "You did exactly what she did." And I kind of just like was astonished that he said that, because it felt like I knew then that I had tapped into something that was not mine, that I didn't stumble upon this healing modality, that I really was picking up on something that was already out there, that was already being used, and then I realized, this is a traditional type of healing work that's used by shamans. And it just, I just feel so blessed and, so, I don't know what to say, just so excited, so grateful that I get to do this work, um, that I had it come to me and through me. And, it just feels so, so special and so amazing. And yeah, so I'm super grateful for that man, and that he gave me that reflection, and it gave me so much more confidence and like just trust in myself and what I'm doing. And like, because I did have at the beginning, I had some sort of fear of like, well, I'm not certified, I'm not licensed, I'm not, I'm not even trained, and it's not needed. I'm doing this work, and it is so powerful and so healing for people. And so I let go of that fear and of that judgment of myself, of not having those things, because it's not needed. I'm doing the work. People are healing. It's fucking amazing. Um, and let's see, what else did I want to share? So I want to share a little bit more details about what a session actually looks like. So when I started out doing the sessions, they were lasting for about 3 hours. Most of them were like, that was the amount of time that seemed like it was good, to get what we needed to get done, doing all 7 chakra centers. So I would just go through, and we'd start up at the crown, and we would go down to the root, and we would go through each of the centers individually and look for stuck energy blockages. And then if there was stuck energy, what we would do, the routine that I will go through is, we will first use source light. So bright white source light energy. And what I have people do is they breathe in the light on the inhale into the place where the stuck energy is. And then on the exhale, they expand the light and grow it as bright as they can. And usually after a few of these breaths, the white light begins to break up the energies. And so sometimes, we need to do more than 3 breaths. Sometimes just the white light breathing is not enough. And so I have other tools that I work with. Sometimes I use crystals. I'll use like selenite wands for clearing centers, and I'll place it on the person's body over that, chakra center. Sometimes I use, my other favorite tool that works really well is a sound healing bowl, a big quartz crystal bowl. And the vibrations from that will help to break up the energies and move them through. And then other tools are tingsha bells that are like little chimes. They make this beautiful sound. Those work well. And then another tool is actually the voice. So this one's really powerful for stimulating the energy flow in the chakra centers. And this was a tool that I had been using. Actually, I was leading a mantra meditation chanting group every week at the studio. And I was using a chakra toning exercise as the warm-up. And so basically you go through each of the chakra centers, and you make this sound that vibrates in the different centers, and it stimulates the energy flow. So I'll just show you, for example, the heart center sound sounds like this. Ah. And so what that is doing is vibrating in that center and then stimulating the energy flow. So we'll use those vocalizations, and I do it with the person in the session, and that oftentimes will help them to either, like if someone's having trouble locating the centers or tapping into the energies, I'll use that exercise, and it helps them to feel where the energy is in the body, and helps to get the process started in that way. Other times it will be that we'll actually use those vibrations to break up the energy, the stuck energies. And yeah, so what else? I use sage smudging at the beginnings and end of the basically ceremony of the session. I'll use owl wings to do energy clearing. And yeah, and then at the end of the session, we do like a debriefing. I'll just kind of, well, I started asking people like, do you feel like going back over what we talked about, and kind of leaving it as an option, because at the beginning I was just like, yeah, so we're going to go back over everything that we went over and kind of just run through what happened and just go over key points, because people do remember everything that happens in the sessions, but it kind of takes a little bit of like memory jogging to kind of get them to remember everything. So I also do recordings, and I send them to the person afterwards so that they can go back and listen to them if they want to, because there's always so much information that's covered. It's kind of a lot to a lot to take in and remember. But yeah, and so more recently, the sessions that I've been doing have been just 90-minute sessions. And I think that that's better for everybody, because 3 hours is just a long time to commit to. 90 minutes is more accessible for people. And I think that, I think I was doing longer sessions at the beginning because I was like figuring out what the fuck I was actually doing. And I needed to have that full chakra scan to go through to really understand what I was actually working with. But now when I do 90-minute sessions, we don't go through the whole chakra energy system. We just look at the most important things that are sticking out, which will be, the biggest energy blockages. And so, yeah, so that is really cool. I want to share something else that's so interesting to me about all of this work, is that I did a virtual session with somebody, and this person has it's called a Healy, and it's kind of like, I don't have one, so I'm not super familiar, but basically from my understanding, it's like a little energy frequency transmitter. And so it will transmit these frequencies to heal different things in your mind, body, and spirit. So it has this app that goes with it, and you can get the app on your phone, and then you can use it, the device, to scan your chakra system. And then you can look at the app and it shows you what level your chakras are at. So I did this session with this person who has one of these devices, and I wish that we had thought of doing it beforehand, but anyway, it was still really cool regardless. Basically, we did a huge clearing of this person's third eye center, and when they used their Healy device to scan their chakra centers after the session, that center, the third eye center, was like so high. Like the numbers were like way higher than all of the other centers. And I just thought that was like so cool and so interesting, because it was, it's like, I mean, I know from people telling me that their experiences are really powerful and that this healing is working, but to actually see something be able to like record the, the frequencies and the energies and the centers, it was just really cool. It took it to a whole nother level. So I just thought that was really fascinating. And yeah, I'm really excited to be getting into doing some more sessions. So if you're listening to this and you're interested in trying a session, please reach out to me. You can find me on my Instagram, which is Ascending with Amelia. You can send me an email if you want to. My email is ameliaheleneyoga yoga, Helene, Helene, and then yoga@gmail.com. And yes, I'm open for sessions and I would love to do some work with you. I do offer free connection calls for people who are interested in learning more. If you have any questions about anything that I've explained here, I would be more than happy to talk to you. I obviously love talking about this stuff, and so don't hesitate to reach out if you're interested. And thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Speaking of Spirituality. If you'd like to connect with me personally or book a session for Quantum Soul Alchemy, you can find me on Instagram at Ascending with Amelia. Have a beautiful day.